Going back in live. See if they can hear you now. You're on. Yep.
Hi, good morning. This is Kelley Hobart from Alpaca Direct. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We were trying to get our sound system to work, and I think it might be working now. So for those of you who are listening, if you can give us a thumbs up if you can hear what I'm saying today. And today I wanted to talk about corrugated ribbing, and this is what the corrugated ribbing looks like. And I wanted to talk about this lovely little cast on the bottom that you can use to cast on for your corrugated ribbing that is very simple. And so I wanted to take a look at that. And then maybe some characteristics that of this corrugated ribbing that you might find interesting and or useful when you're going to go ahead and do it for your project. So what I was thinking about doing it is doing it on the edge of this lovely cowl pattern, and it's a praying mantis cowl pattern. And I'm not even going to try and tell you the lady's name. It is right here on the bottom. That's her name. And it was a pattern that I found on Ravelry, and it is, I just love it. And it'll be great. This pattern is going to be great for ladderback jacquard. And I'll be talking about that in a upcoming episode, but I want to just put this on the edge of the cowl on either side of it. So I was just looking at the characteristics. I had never done this corrugated ribbing before. I've seen it a ton. I just haven't used it in any of my projects. And so far, let me show you just a little thing about it. Do you see how it's not super stretchy? That it looks like ribbing, but it almost reminds me of color work, because if you look at these socks here, and this is just 1x1 ribbing, you could see how stretchy this ribbing is, right? So the corrugated ribbing doesn't have as much stretch. So the first thing I would say, if I was going to do the corrugated ribbing, I would definitely choose a larger needle when I go to cast on.
Hang on a second. So some people are all coming in. So.
Good morning. It's so nice to have you here with us. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Oh, and while I'm at it, and I might as well mention that every week we give a prize. And for this last week, the winning color was for some lovely Comfort DK. And this is a great yarn if you're allergic to wool. And it is a nice holiday color set that I thought would be great to send out in the mail. And let me read. I'm looking for... Where is it? It's 50% superfine nylon and 50% superfine acrylic on this DK. But if you feel it, you see how it's not shiny? The colors are not shiny at all. And it knits up beautiful with a little bit of halo in the yarn. And so that's kind of popular, having the halo. So you get that in this Comfort DK, and you don't have to do anything extra.
So say hi to Canada.
Good morning to all of you from Canada. Thank you for joining me today, and New York. That's fantastic. I bet the weather is changing in New York, huh? It probably is cold there right now. We need to get out our knitting and our slippers and all of those lovely things, because the weather is changing. So for this week, I was thinking that we could offer a prize of these two colorways, and the purple or the red. And this is Bravo Petites. And what this is 100% baby alpaca made in Peru. And it is a lovely yarn. It feels so soft. And if you want to be warm, alpaca is wonderful because it's a hollow core fiber, and it insulates. The air gets trapped in the fibers themselves in the core and just heats you right up.
So what colors are they voting for?
Purple or red. Purple or red.
Hold on.
Yeah. Can you see it there?
Purple or red?
Yep. And it's a great yarn. I've probably made, 5 million projects with baby alpaca yarn. It's one of my favorite yarns ever. So let's take a look at this ladderback jacquard. So for those of you who have never seen this before, again, I'll show it to you. That's what it looks like. It's like two-color ribbing, but they call it not ladderback. Sorry, it's corrugated ribbing. I'll be doing the ladderback jacquard in a future episode. Yes. So let's take a look at this. It is so cool. It kind of reminds me. Yes, Jim?
1 second. They wanted to know about the discount code. There was a code for the yarn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
every week we offer a discount code for our whatever yarn we're featuring for the prize for the week. And this week is Bravo, the petites, baby alpaca petites. And the discount code for that is TT122. And it's for today only, for 10% off. And Meg will, if she hasn't posted that, I'm sure she will very soon. So that's fantastic. Now let's take a look at our corrugated ribbing. And this corrugated ribbing can be used anytime you're doing ribbing at all, provided that you remember that it's not going to be this stretchy. It's going to be more like this because it's more like color work. So you see how this doesn't have a lot of stretch? This has a little bit of stretch, but not a lot of stretch. So something to keep in mind. But it adds, I think it adds a little bit, don't you think it adds a little bit of flair to your project? It's kind of cool, huh? And this is 2x2 here, and then 1x1 here. And I just knit this sample up this morning just so I could show you, and kind of, because I had never done it before. It's like, how the heck do you do this? But it's totally cool. So we can use this for edges on our scarves. We can use it for edges on our cowls, edges on socks, cuffs, anything like that. Mittens, you can use this on all kinds of things. So it's kind of cool.
How come it's so different? Like you don't ever see it much.
You do see it a lot. If you look in, it on different forums and things like that, it is actually present. So I'm going to just knit this first stitch. And then you can see that I'm on the right side of my work. So in order to purl, see, I've knit that first stitch, and then you got to get this blue yarn, just move it out of the way. And then this, oops, you have to bring the gray yarn forward. And then you would just purl. And once I get away from the edge, I kind of do a better job of controlling what I'm doing. But on that edges, it's a little bit hard. Oops, see how that blue yarn needed to go to the back. And then everything, once everything is in the back, then you can knit that next stitch. And like I said, if I was doing this for my project, I will definitely be using 2 needle sizes larger just to make sure that it doesn't get too tight or sucked in, especially for this edging, since the edging is not really super flexible.
So there's a question that came in. Can
Sure.
this be used for one color? So repeat the question.
Well, if you were doing this, Jim said, can you use it with one color? If you do this with one color, it's just ribbing. Knit one, purl one, ribbing. Yeah. And so that is, so you see how I move both the yarns to the back. Let me move this little hair out of here. And then I would insert my needle, and then I'm knitting, throwing with my right hand and doing the continental style of knitting with my left hand. But you can just drop one yarn and pick up the other. So this goes to the front. This goes to the front. And see, I have my blue yarn out of the way. So now I'm going to purl. What it reminds me is very similar to double knitting. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So both yarns to the back, when I'm working in the back, and then both yarns to the front, and then purl. And then both yarns to the back, knit, and then both yarns to the front, purl. And then both yarns to the back, knit, and both yarns to the front, purl. So I want to, when you're doing, Suzanne Bryant said, always make sure if you have your black yarn in your left hand, keep the black yarn in your left hand, whatever you're doing. Don't switch them back and forth. And I think that has to do with the yarn dominance. I'm guessing that does. I haven't done this corrugated ribbing enough to be super familiar with it. And so I don't know exactly, but yeah. I'm still learning. Just everything to the front, and then purl, and then everything to the back, and knit. And then everything to the front, and purl. This is the 2x2 ribbing now. So we do that for 2 stitches, and then everything to the back, knit. And you just leave that black strand there, and then everything to the front, purl, and then everything to the back, knit. And I'll show you in just a second what is going on this next row here, so you can see what the wrong-sided row looks like. Oops, see on here, you see how I didn't move my blue to the back before I purled, which is fine. All you do is you try to go back, just slip those stitches back, and then put this in the back. And then that's how you fix it if you run into that problem and have that problem. Okay, so then we have this in the back, and we're going to knit, and then we're going to knit. Okay. And then, oops, do you see those two strands right there where I messed that up? If you do that on yours, it's just from having the strand of yarn in the wrong place. Because this is the right side of our work and we don't want it to show, just go back right there to those two stitches, drop them off your needle, grab this strand and put it over the top, and then put those back on the needle with the right hand leg in front. So your stitches are mounted correctly. And then you see the right hand legs in front, that's mounted correctly. And then let's go back one more time. Here's this one, the strand of yarn is going across the front of my work, not good. We don't want that. So what I'll do this time, let's see if I can just lift it up. There you go. And then just flip this right on over the back, like that. Now it's in the correct position. Now let's take a look at the other side and see what we can do there. I want to do just a couple stitches, and then I'll show you this fancy dancy cast on. And the cast on is just doing a long tail cast on with one little trick. See how this strand is just caught there? Just bring that right up over the top. All the pieces. There you go. And then put that back on your needles. And that one strand was being a little funny. Turn our work. Okay. Now we said our right strand is going to be in our left hand, and it will eventually. I'm going to do the first couple stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and purl two, because those are, I'm purling it as I see it. And then I'll have to bring my black yarn to the back so that I can knit. Okay. And then bring both yarns to the front so we can purl. Try not to capture that black yarn in there. I don't want to capture that. I just want it to stay there and stay on its own. And then bring it to the back again. And I have my black yarn so I can knit it. Oh, that's what's causing the strands. Oops. Let me show you something. Don't do that. Don't bring that. Now I see why I'm doing the, let's see.
So say finish your sentence.
1 second. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do this one little part differently because I was bringing the blue strand and just carrying it across the front again like I did before. And that's not cool because we want all of our strands to stay on the back of our work. So we need to keep that in mind when we're working. So on this blue one, I'll just go back. So when we start the beginning of this row, we'll take our blue strand and put it to the front. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and knit. Okay. And then we bring this black strand and put it back here because we do not want it to get in the way of being on the front of the work. And we purl those. There you go. And then this one needs to stay back here because we're going to bring the black one forward and we're going to knit it. And then we're going to move the black one out of the way and bring the blue one forward and purl those. And then move the blue one and bring the black one forward and knit those. See, so it's very similar to double knitting, I think. And there you go. This one is a knit the 1x1 ribbing. So let's see if I can put this black one in my left hand this time and put the blue one in my right hand. All right, so we have the black and then blue and then black and then blue. That's why when you you find a new skill that or something that you want to try on a project, it's good to take out scrap yarn and just practice for a little while until you get proficient at what you're doing. And it'll make your finished project look so much better when you go and actually start the corrugated ribbing, especially with the project that I want to do with this one, because the praying mantis, that is a kind of a advanced chart to do. It'll take me a while to do, and so I want it to look the best that it can look, right? Don't you think, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yep, I have 2 more here. Oh, sorry, I got that strand of yarn is misbehaving. And then sorry, Jim. And that goes there. Now let's take a look at the front, and that's what it looks like. Isn't that cool? So let me just show you the cast on real quick, because I was most excited about the cast on, because this corrugated ribbing reminds me very much of double knitting without actually double knitting. But this corrugated ribbing,
There we go.
all right, so right now what we're talking about is we're talking about how to cast on for this corrugated ribbing and have it kind of look like a Latvian braid. So the first step that you do is you put a slip knot on each of your yarns that you're going to be using. And then it's very much like a long tail cast on. It is a long tail cast on. It takes the tail and the working yarn to create the stitches. So make sure your tail is long enough to be able to create all the stitches. And then when you're working,
Yes.
Hey, Rory,
Guys,
we're on film.
quiet.
So to do the cast on, you take it and you set it up just like a teepee, so you're doing the Latvian braid, and you go up your thumb, over your index finger, and then through the hole like that. And then you grab the next color of yarn and you bring it right through the center, and you cast on that next stitch. And it's just like a Latvian braid cast on. It creates a tangled mess, but don't worry, you can untangle it when you're done. Okay. And make sure when you're casting on, use a larger needle for this for the cast on, because it's going to want to suck in, and it doesn't have a lot of elasticity to this cast on. So you can see I'm just taking each new color as I need to make the next stitch and just doing a long tail cast on stitch and bringing the next color right through the center of that V, right? Just like that. And there we go. And you see what it looks like right here? Oh, this one looks like it was too blue. I wonder why. It probably got pulled. I'm not sure why. Let me look and see why that too. There's two blues right in a row. Let's take a look at it. So that is one blue. See if we can do it and make it so there's a, oh, let me see what this blue is. Let me recast that blue on just to make sure it's just right. So it went straight through the center, because you want one stitch in one color and one stitch in the other color. Unless, of course, you're doing 2x2 ribbing, in which case you would want 2 stitches in a color and then the next 2 stitches in the next color. And you want to snug it up, but I'm trying not to snug it up so tight that my cast on edge is like sucked in. But like I said, if you use a needle that's 2 sizes larger, you shouldn't have a problem with that at all. And you can see, Jim, can you show them how the yarns are getting tangled on the bottom here? Yeah. And then you just take that new one, bring it through. Now let's take a look on the bottom here. There you go. See how I have one in the gray, one in blue, one in gray, blue, gray, blue, gray, blue. So that is how you do the cast on for your corrugated ribbing. And you can do it in either 2x2 or in 1x1. Either one works great. But I am going to use it on the edge of my lovely praying mantis cowl. And there it is right there. So I will let you know how that works. I'm going to be working on this project for a little while. And let's take a look. First, we want to look again at the yarns that are going to be for the lucky winner for this week. And you can vote. So we send it out next week, shall I say. So it's 2 of the Bravo Petites, either in purple or red, and you guys choose. And it's 100% baby alpaca made in Peru. Yes, Jim? There it is. And then the winning colorways for today were this color selection, and it's Comfort DK, which is great all-purpose yarn for someone who's allergic to wool, especially. Fantastic. And let's look and see who the winner was. The winner for today is Linda Kolaric. Yay! Congratulations, Linda. You won today's yarn, which is this Barocco Comfort DK. And all you have to do is get in contact with us at customer service at Alpaca Direct. And we need your shipping address so we can get it out in the mail to you. So I hope you all have a great week. This next week, I am going to talk about easy ways to catch long floats. So if you're having a hard time interlocking your floats and you just need a super easy way to do it, I have the solution for you. So you enjoy your week, and I will see you next Tuesday.